ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready when you are.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your girl KO and welcome to Glow Galaxy Incorporated. Today I have a very special guest. He goes by Mo and he has a bunch of different talent that he has under his belt. So I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Maurice Robinson. I'm a professor, a jeweler, and some entrepreneurial efforts, but I say my biggest passion is community service.
So what we're going to be talking about today, we're getting into fields that are very competitive, and a lot of the times, like, we're going into fields that are very saturated within the same thing. So clothing line, well, how are you going to do that? Like, what's your marketing scheme going to be? You have to educate yourself. Finances, you have to educate yourself. Talk about what you mean as far as, entrepreneurship and your importance in that matter.
I feel like everybody's already an entrepreneur.
Right.
You yourself are a business. You can't separate you from your profitability, but at the same time understanding what sections of yourself are liabilities to what you want to do, your ambitions, your aspirations. My biggest thing is network in a sense, but not network in the traditional discourse, but more so like network as a team, activating your
team
network.
Building, yeah.
Like, I got a lot of weaknesses. I got some strengths too, but I always try to marry myself to people who are talented in areas that I want to learn more about. I worked in fashion, but when I worked in fashion, I mused from my brother, my business partner, Bun. He's a big resource for me in that area. When I'm thinking about education or pedagogy or teaching on a college level, I'm looking at a Dr. Monifa Asante Love,
Right. You have different ventures as far as you teach. You have your Rich Grillz, which is one of his companies right there. You're starting to get into the fashion industry where, that can be a sporadic brain right there. You know what I mean? At what point do you say, okay, I need to hone in on this and I need to hone in on that? Like, what helps you get that, to achieve that?
I think the best answer for that is, like, my mind isn't linear, Like, I need to work on a lot of different things because I never know where I'm going to find inspiration for something. When I just work on one thing and I get to focusing on one thing, and this happened to me before when I was working in fashion, I want to just focus on making something crazy, but life teaches you things. And the more talents you have, the more equipped you are to go into one arena and bring a certain versatility to it. Read people's bios, right? You can read people's bios and you read them and you'll read like Oprah's American media proprietor, TV host, author, an actor, a producer,
philanthropist.
At that, like, if I want to get on that level, then I have to truly explore all of my interests and talents. You know what I mean? So that becomes the mission. The mission becomes to allow your endeavors to basically collaborate with one another. So I'm always looking for different ways, and every business is a practice for the next business. So that's what I enjoy from it all.
Well, we had countless conversations, and one of the takeaways I've had from it was you talked about your willingness to learn at all times. You know what I mean? And in one particular scenario you were almost like the smartest person in the room because you had, your street smarts and then you had, your book smarts. And if you want to, I don't know if you know what story I'm talking about. What does that mean for you to, like, absorb your brain with so much knowledge, but people, take you as one thing, but you're completely not, like, you're so complex? What would you say to that person, right?
Probably the same thing that Steve Jobs told that graduation at Columbia, that speech, like, just be daring. Get comfortable, truly be comfortable with who you are. I think we spoke before, the way I grew up, I wasn't really allowed to really explore certain things only because of the pressures of my environment. There's certain different things you need to survive and thrive in this area. But at the same time, the world is so big and it offers so much. Like, as far as tradition, my people, we have a rich tradition, but the world has so many different cultures and
but I don't think people see that though. You know what I mean?
It's hard to see that though.
People feel like they have to be a product of their environment. There's no way out. You know what I mean? And all they see is that. And sometimes disheartening. You know what I mean? Because all you want to do is just pull them out and you just want them to see more and do more and experience more. How do we get to that level where we can have them experience those type of things. I meet so many smart and intelligent people, and they have all these brilliant ideas, but they don't know how to formulate them.
For me, it was my paradigm. Just a paradigm flip. Like, being a product of your environment, even if you come from a rough neighborhood, isn't necessarily gotta be a negative thing. You know, you got different customs, you got a different way of life, you got different strengths that came out of that. You know, so it's like flipping that, like being the product of your environment, be the product. If you from that negative neighborhood, be the product of that environment, because there's so much love in every ghetto and every hood and every suburb, everywhere in the world. Like so much love.
I say be yourself. Always bring yourself to the table. There should never be a time where you're trying to fit someone else's norm. You know what I mean? I feel like you always like kind of take yourself, you grow a little bit, you leave a little bit behind. You know what I mean? The bad stuff, the bad habits. You just bring yourself to the table. You shouldn't necessarily change per se. You should always just keep expanding and keep growing. So
yeah, and just to add on to that, like, what is the self? You know, could listen to a proverb like "I am we," and realize yourself is everything that you care about and connected to. You know, if you're passionate about something and somebody come for it, it's like you get defensive as though it was like an attack. You know what I mean? So it's like carrying that with you, like, but defending yourself and being able to defend those things. But you can only defend something that you know about. You know what I mean? You can't defend a life that you never lived fully. You can support it, you can be empathetic with it. And even on a divine level, you know, like your experiences become your testimony. Like carrying that with you is going to help everything else, because then the ideas or the businesses that you want to start, it just become doing it, like just doing it.
What does thoughts manifesting itself mean to you?
Translation. Translation, 100% translation. I'm one of those that don't believe that we think in English or we think in Spanish or we think in French or we think in any language. I think it's just energy and waves and vibrations just bouncing around. But I'm in a universe full of other humans, and other beings and other things that's just happening. So we have to share.
The best way to think about that is I'm at a loss for words. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's
you're always at a loss for words. You're always at a loss for words, or even at a loss for words, like the loss of expression. Like we might just haven't found our vehicle of expression, because for some people it's speech, for other people it's music. You know, but and some people it's really body language. You know, it's everybody's different. But a world where everybody's talents and aspirations and languages that they speak fluently. That's what I tell my students in my class, you know, speak the language that you're fluent in. It might not always be just English, you know, it might be video games, it might be, you know, you're fluent in something, but if you're the better you are at making your passions an allegory for life, the more powerful you become, because you can start to see yourself in other people's passion. You've ever been not interested at all in what somebody does, but you see the passion that they put into it, the work ethic they put into it, and it just reminds you of what you put into your stuff. It's like I empathize with you from the beginning, like, because we fight the same fight. You know what I'm saying?
Two different paths, but fighting the same fight.
Two different paths. I never wanted, I never wanted to be Kobe or Jordan. I never wanted to be Mitch from Paid in Full. I never wanted. These are all people I looked up to.
But you understand that hustle.
I looked up to them, like I put them on the highest pedestal because they showed me what it was like to be committed to yourself, to be committed to your brand, to be committed to the people who support you and lift you up and elevate you into that position, so that you give, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I didn't limit myself to what they were doing, but I also analyzed and studied and critiqued how they were doing it.
I think for me, when thoughts manifest themselves, and this actually helped me with a personal type of thing, you know what I mean? When I think positive thoughts, you know, come to reality. You know what I mean? It's what you put out into the universe. It's that reciprocation. And if people, you know, whatever your beliefs are, whatever, you know, you can believe in Jesus, Buddhist, Muslim, you know, it really, at this point, I'm not really talking about religion. So to kind of take religion out of that for a second. What I'm speaking of is that when you think positively, when you think what you're passionate about, that's constantly what you're thinking of, you're going to put it into your reality. If you're constantly gossiping, thinking negative thoughts, you know, and you're bringing yourself down, it's going to reflect in your lifestyle. And I think that's something a lot of people have to understand, you know what I mean? To get out of any situation, any awful situation, any, you know, business deal, anything where you feel as though you're stuck in a rut. It's hard. It's hard to put yourself in a positive mindset sometimes. Realize you take your outside environment and you let it consume you, and you let it, you know, enter into your space. But I'm a big believer in big vibes and good vibes and keeping your energy clear, you know what I mean, of anything that could possibly jeopardize your success and your greatness. So in terms of, you know, like we said, entrepreneurship and learning and growing and that willingness to learn, you have to put yourself in the mindset of wanting to do it. You have to put yourself in the mindset of bettering yourself. And so that's kind of where when thoughts manifest themselves, it's kind of like what I think becomes a reality.
That's almost real. Yeah. That's 100% real. It reminds me of one of my lectures, you know.
Like, come on, preach.
For me, it was just a simple switch, flip of the switch again, of just thinking that, assuming that everybody was good.
Right.
Like, when I was growing up, it was like,
that's
don't
the biggest
trust
thing for me.
Nobody. That's what everybody told me. Your bag.
I learned that real quick going into college.
Yeah, right. And it be like that. But as you get older and as you start getting into your profession and you really start realizing what you want to do.
Right.
When you start really just taking a chance and just like, yo, this might be a great person right here. Like, I'm not going to dismiss the possibility of this person being great.
It's like you have to kind of flip it. You know what I mean? Like, what you've learned so much is like, trust no one. And then once you kind of start needing to network and get out there a little more, it's just like, I got to try and revert back, relearn to open myself back up again. You know what I mean? And that's a tough battle to kind of, for me it was.
It's just the metamorphosis of a human.
Right.
You know, we're dealing with the same conditions. If I imagine myself to be a caterpillar, then I'm going to be worried about you stepping on me with your foot accidentally. I'm going to be worried about eating leaves off of a poisonous tree. I'm going to worry about the wind knocking me off a tree or knocking me off a direction or off of my path. I'm going to be worried about a predator seeing me before it. I'll constantly watch my back. I can't trust anyone or anything. The more aware I become of my surroundings and the more I start to look internally, you know, within myself for the answers to my problems that I have, right? And I really surround myself in the world of myself. And I really be super cautious of the things that surround me and the things that I put in my body and the people that I let into my mind and into my spirit. Then all of those things begin to feed into me, and I break out of that catalyst, I break out of that cocoon, a butterfly. And when I become that butterfly, I'm still in the same situation I was in as a caterpillar, but I flipped everything. The same things, I flipped everything. I'm no longer worried about someone stepping on me with their foot because I fly over that. I'm no longer worried about eating leaves from poisonous trees because I eat from the heavens. You know, I'm no longer worried about the wind knocking me off the direction because I'm now using a vehicle of navigation to new landing spots and new destinations, you know. So it's about that. That's what life is. Life is literally taking the life that you have, because we only got one. So you're going to live an empty life or you're going to live one full of joy. You know, that's the difference. Happiness is just a matter of circumstance. Joy is something that it resonates from you. It comes from within, you know. But we can only find that by surrounding ourselves in the world of ourselves and the people who love and support us. That's why when you do come back into the world, you come back into the world as an asset to everyone and everybody. I'm not worried about anybody doing nothing to me, you know. And it's not because I think I'm a gangster or I think I'm hard. I never aspired to be any of those things. It's because I just got genuine love for everybody. You know what I mean? I got genuine love for everybody, and I understand most people's plights, you know. Not everyone's plights. There's still some extreme situations out here, you know, but for the most part, I can feel you. You know what I mean? And if I could feel you, I could identify with you. It's good. Everybody has good in them. If I can accept you for who you are, regardless of your sins, regardless of your faults, regardless of who you done wrong in the past, then that's me living my mission. That's what I'm put here for. Like, when I say I'm a Christian, I'm being Christ-like. And nobody ever did me wrong that I didn't think they was capable of. You know what I mean? You know your friends better than anybody.
Right.
They turn you on your back. You just saw them turn their back on somebody the same way.
Mm-hmm.
People just don't pick up habits out the blue.
Right.
You know, we just never think that we're going to be the victim.
Right.
But at the same time, if you meet everybody where they at, appreciate them for where they are,
right.
and protect yourself against their ailments,
mm-hmm.
you become empowered.
Right. Speaking about like picking each other up, you know, we spoke about community development. What does that mean to you in all of your different ventures? You're a professor, obviously, but I feel like it goes deeper than that for you. So kind of
much deeper. Yeah. It go much deeper. Entrepreneurship and scholarship, I do it for the community because I think that is what is needed. Mm-hmm. I think first off comes entrepreneurship because we need to not only collaborate creatively, but we need to collaborate economically. We can corner some markets like easily. See a lot of influential people. I know who I am in my industry, and I assume who they are in their industries. If we collaborated, we can work together and take over both industries completely because we're already in position. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's on one end of the spectrum, and on the other end of the spectrum, it's like scholarship, meaning that we have to elevate Black ideas to a scholarly level. Not necessarily changing how we talk, not necessarily changing what we do, changing who we are, but talking about it in a way and substantiating it in a way where it can last the test of time.
Right.
Record something, you write something down, that's scholarship. You have someone edit that thing, you have to go through a rigorous process, that's scholarship. That all becomes scholarship. Things that last in journals last so much longer than everything else.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on like Black Wall Street?
Oh, I mean, I'm not against any of those things. You know,
is that more so what you're referring to? Like,
no, not necessarily, because I don't even think it's organized like that. I don't look at things as just being that organized or being that, you know, fundamental that we could just. It's an attitude. Make a decision to collaborate. Let's make a decision to work together. Let's make a decision to really establish the community.
Okay, so let's talk about egos for a second. Say you're at the top, right?
That scenario.
You know what I mean? You're at, already at.
I like that.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Alright, so you're at the top and you have someone that's, you know, coming up and wanting to collaborate, right? How do you get people out of their egos because they are at the top? But some people are afraid of, you know what I mean? Rejection. They want to collaborate, they just are afraid to get shut down. Yeah. How do you think we can fix stuff like that?
It's on both ends. Both sides got a responsibility. On one side, the person who want to get on. My master's degree in rhetoric. Rhetoric is about persuasion. Like you have to be persuasive in what you want from somebody.
Right.
And number two, which both sides kind of got to fill off of, I was always taught that if a girl like me, I ain't gonna have to do much. Show her that she know to go out. You know what I mean? If a guy like you, he gonna show you. You know what I mean? Like if somebody wanna work with you, they gonna show you they wanna work with you. Work with people who wanna work with you. Like you need to start focusing on having somebody put you on and realize that you are the genius. You are the person, like you are the key. Like I swear, that's all the hustler needs.
That's all a hustler needs.
The hustler just need to know it's only three things that you need in this world. You need capital, you need know-how, and you need support.
Right.
If you have those three things, you're good.
Alright, so the main purpose you're here is for Rich Grillz. So let the people know, you know, why you're here, what Rich Grillz, where it originated from, and how people can find you.
Well, Rich Grillz is a company we started in 2012. I'm the owner and CEO. We ship nationwide. We ship molds everywhere. One of our biggest spots is Hawaii. We also known for our custom grills, cleaner and polishing cloths, as well as our grills and our custom jewelry and our other, nostalgic regalia.
Speaking of custom, I have my things here that he just gave me. I love them, but I'm so excited to just go out. I feel like this, how people do that.
Yeah, smile for them.
Yeah. Alright, so what's your Instagram, social media?
All of my Instagrams are the same, at Rich Grillz with a Z. Website, richgrillz.com. On Instagram, PhD Rich. Anything, hit me up, man. We're down to talk.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe. And then make sure you let us know how, if you've heard of the phrase, your thoughts manifest themselves, let us know how that's kind of worked for you. And your story may help somebody else that you never met before, because here at Glow Galaxy, we reach new heights together. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!